Good evening. My name is Satyamurthy, Sugan Satyamurthy. Today I'm going to talk about the question of which is quite popular questions because whenever we see government or whenever we heard of any laws, any new law that was implemented by the government, like one of the laws of 2023, which we are going to discuss in this video briefly, is Digital Data Protection Act, DPDP Act of 2023, which says that it will protect the data of Indian users of internet, because India is one of the biggest digital markets for Meta, for Google, uh, and several other tech giants. And now coming to the AI, and so India needs a DPDP Act. So the large part that we are going to discuss on this video is that do we really need new laws, or just we have to do is to implement in a better way the old laws and also to amend the old laws. So we are going to discuss this point, that whether we need new laws or not, or whether we just need to reform our old systems and try to try to implement those old laws which are just written on the page, not on the ground. It is practically being used. So when we ask the question that do we really need new laws, the answer is deceptively not simple. You cannot say in a word that it is that yes or no. You need to give a better explanation for your answers, whether you say yes or not or no. The first thing that we will consider in this video is that the case for new laws. There are several areas where India's current legal framework is outdated, absented, struggling for changes, and to keep pace with this rapidly changing society and economy, we need new laws. Of course, the first thing we consider it in the point A is the digital frontier. We all know that technology is changing day by day by leaps and bounds, and to keep our pace with it, we need to change our laws. We need to secure the data of our citizens. That is the motto of government. So, as we all know, India is one of the world's largest digital markets, yet its legal framework is playing catch up. The first thing that comes into mind whenever you talk about data, whenever you talked about internet, whenever you talked about technology, when you talk about social media, the one thing that comes to the mind of those persons who are really aware, who didn't use Instagram just for type of taking pleasure, of taking hooks or spikes in their dopamines, those people who are really concerned with their data, who are really thinks that data is money in the new in our countries, information is wealth for in the 21st century. So he he or she much cared about data privacy. So while looking into the data privacy, as I said earlier in this video, the government has allowed a bill which now becomes an act, is called Digital Data Protection Act, DPDP Act of 2023, which is recently passed, but it is still in infancy. Critics argue that India didn't have any better digital laws like we see in European countries. In European countries, even if you want your data from like, just for example, you are the person A and you are using Instagram for 3 years, and if you want the data that the Instagram had taken in these 3 years, all the data Instagram has to give you. This is the uh, policy strictness in European countries, and the entire law in European Union countries is called in short GDPR. So India didn't have any GDPR, although this Digital Data Protection Act inhibits the uh, uh, data theft and maintains data privacy, but it is not as much as strong. One, and second is that the implementation of this is not as much as strict as we see in the European countries. Like I was just listening yesterday, the news that in America, like hundreds of cases were filed on American courts, whether it is New York or in Washington or several places. But one of the courts has given its judgment not in the favor of tech companies but in the favor of common people. Like several schools have complained that Instagram or social media or Facebook or this YouTube is designed in such a way that it is addictive, and this is and it is there that the entire matter of concern is that, and the judge gave the judgment in the favor of those people who accuse them Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all other social media platforms as addictive, and fined uh, somewhat $350 million for respective for YouTube and in their Meta respectively. And they said that probably $100 million or something. I'm just not exactly quoting what they said, but 70% of those fines were given by the Meta and 30% were given by the YouTube, which is of Google, of course. So in the entire world, like on the other hand, we are also seeing that countries like Australia are banning social media for children who are below 16 years of age, and several other countries also adopting this. In India, several states, like one of the state in India which is largely taking part of this, you can say, a new initiative by the people against Instagram, against these addictive natures, is that they are trying to curb the youth. They are trying to curb the teenagers to use Instagram. So one of the state of our country is Karnataka, which is considering to ban the social media for children who are for the persons or individuals who are under the age of 16. These are all where we need strict laws in case of data privacy. Now, next coming to the artificial intelligence, we all know that we cannot in 2026 you cannot neglect the importance of artificial intelligence. Everybody is using. If you are not using, then you are probably a dumb person, and you can largely use your artificial intelligence in your daily life, whether you are a student or a college graduate or doing any job or living in a house and all the rest of it. You can still use artificial intelligence at a great level in your work, and it will help you a lot, of course. So we can say that as AI becomes integrated into healthcare, finance, and all our lives, we need a stricter rule so that it will not be taken as a bias, or it will not so that it will prevent bias, protect intellectual property, and ensure safety. Because if we need AI is obviously a machine, but we need to take care of it. Now, third, coming to the point where government is uncertain, which is cryptocurrency. India remains in a legal gray area. You can say India remains in a legal gray area in the case of in regarding crypto assets. While government take the taxations on cryptocurrencies, crypto coins, but it is still uncertain about that whether it is legal in our country or illegal in our country. Like the countries like our neighbor Pakistan, there in that country, cryptocurrency is legal, completely legal, and the government and some officials of the Pakistani government tried to appease Trump by uh, buying the crypto coins of Trump's family. So this is another matter. We will talk it in some other videos. So while taxation exists, but the exact thing, the government need to clarify whether cryptocurrency is legal or illegal in our country. That's the one thing that we can say that in this field, cryptocurrency and in artificial intelligence, there we need a separate laws with great implementation on the ground. What really need for a law in our country. Now coming to the next is agricultural and labor reforms. In around 2021, government introduced a farm law, which was largely protested by the farms, and then government uh, turned on the plan to implementing the bill. We still didn't have a great, you can say, a good agriculture and labor reforms law. Like India's economy is shifting from agrarian to formal and informal sectors. We need better laws for farmers and those who are of lower classes who are still doing agriculture as their main source of business, main source of earnings. And one of the prominent problems that highlighted, I would say that is number two problem is the Tanaji problem. Actually, the Tanaji Marusare is a Maratha warrior, and it is said that he was one of the commander of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and once he had got a chance to reclaim the Kondhana fort from the Mughal empires, so he fought bravely, although losing his hand and some other and facing the music, facing the consequences. So, but he still conquered the Kondhana fort. So, in this context, we can say that the Tanaji problem that we need an officers on the ground level who are really concerned with implementing these laws, because laws are made, they are written in the constitution, they are written on the paper, but if it is not implemented on the ground, then there is no value of it at all. It is completely useless. So the second point that is important to say is that we need to implement this law. Those who implement these laws will be well equipped, will be in a safer zone. That is what we really need. And there is a famous saying in Indian jurisprudence is that we do not need a new law. We need to enforce one Tanaji or constable in sense is that is one afraid to enforce. And India has over 1300 central laws and thousands of state laws. The core issues are obviously the pendency. Over 5 crore cases in Indian courts are pending. Adding new laws without clearing the backlog only adds weight to a collapsing system. Now, again, another point is that police reforms. The Supreme Court has repeatedly stated that police reforms are more critical than new penal laws. Now, coming to the one of the most debated topic is that the Uniform Civil Code, which the first state in our country became to implement Uniform Civil Code is Uttarakhand, and now second state is going to become home. Obviously, the Rajasthan probably. No, it is not Rajasthan. It is, of course, Gujarat is going to be the second state to implement Uniform Civil Code. Now, but I'm not sure about that. Now, what is the Uniform Civil Code? Uniform Civil Code, for understanding Uniform Civil Code, you need to understand what is the meaning of Civil Code. Civil Code system says that in Civil Code comes things like marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, property, and all those things. So, Uniform Civil Code, uniform means what? Same, equal, everywhere, with no boundary, or you can say with one clear boundary. So Uniform Civil Code says that it doesn't matter which religion you belong, which caste you belong, which sect you belong, which creed you come from, you will face the same law uh, for in the case of property, in the case of marriage, in the case of divorce. So this law is as the admirer of these laws, those person who appreciate these laws call this that this is equality for the people. On the other hand, those people who criticize it that saying that this might harm some religious beliefs and all the nonsenses. So there is a debate still there, but Modi government is trying their best to implement these laws in every state they can do. Like probably in 3 or 4 states there is no Modi government, like in Telangana, in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, and one state is West Bengal, whose election is going there. So Modi government is trying their best to implement all over the India is this Uniform Civil Code. Now coming to the next point is our that the constitutional perspective. It is crucial to remember that the constitution is the supreme law. The need for new law is often secondary to the need to uphold existing constitutional guarantees. With the fundamental rights, many issues like mob lynching or privacy breaches do not necessarily require new laws, but rather the strict enforcement of existing laws, provisions, and the fundamental rights enshrined in Article 14, equality, Article 19, freedom, Article 21, right to life. Now, after looking at all these things, in conclusion, we can say that India needs new laws, but specifically in emerging fields like technology, data privacy, and modernizing commerce. However, the greater priority is not the volume of laws, but the quality and implementation. In ultimately, we can say for India, as the mantra might be repeal what is obsolete, reform what is broken, and legislate sparingly for the future. That's what we can say in case of India on the question that we really do need new laws, or we can do amendments in the old laws. Thank you very much.